It was a crisp spring day in Spokane, Washington, March 6, 1959. The air was filled with the scent of blooming flowers, and the streets were alive with the sounds of children playing and birds chirping. It seemed like any other ordinary day in this peaceful suburban neighborhood. 9-year-old Candice Rogers, a bubbly bluebird with a bright smile, set out to sell campfire mints after school. She was excited, her small bag filled with mints and her heart filled with the joy of helping her community. It was a familiar route, one she often took through her quiet neighborhood. The neighbors knew her well, and she felt safe and confident as she knocked on doors, offering her mints with a cheerful grin. But this time, Candy didn't return home. As the hours passed, her parents grew increasingly worried. They called out her name, hoping she would come running back with that same bright smile. As the sun began to set, a palpable sense of dread settled over Spokane. The once vibrant neighborhood was now cloaked in an eerie silence, the air thick with anxiety and fear. Neighbors joined forces with local law enforcement, their collective hope flickering with each passing hour. They scoured the streets, parks, and nearby woods, calling out for Candy, their voices echoing in the still night. The search for Candy Rogers became a community-wide endeavor, a desperate race against time. Flashlights pierced the darkness as volunteers combed every inch of the area, refusing to give up hope. Every passing car, every rustle in the wind, ignited a flicker of hope, only to be extinguished moments later. The community was on edge, every sound a potential clue, every shadow a possible lead. The disappearance of a child strikes at the heart of a community, and Spokane was no different. Conversations were hushed, and the usual friendly greetings were replaced with worried glances and whispered fears. Parents clutched their own children a little closer. The sense of security they once felt was shattered, replaced by an overwhelming need to protect their loved ones. Neighbors eyed each other with suspicion, the unthinkable act of violence shattering their sense of peace. Trust was eroded, and the tight-knit community began to unravel under the weight of fear and uncertainty. For 16 agonizing days, Spokane held its breath, united in fear and desperate for answers. Candlelight vigils were held, prayers were whispered, and the community clung to the hope that Candy would be found safe and sound. On March 21st, the grim discovery came. It was a day that would be etched into the collective memory of Spokane forever. 2 airmen, miles from the frantic search parties, stumbled upon a scene that would forever haunt the community. They had been searching for a lost child, but what they found was far more sinister. Candy's small body, bearing the marks of a horrific crime, was found discarded in a wooded area. The innocence of a young girl, brutally taken away, left a scar on the community that would never fully heal. The news ripped through Spokane, replacing the hope with a collective grief that was as palpable as the fear had been. The community, once united in hope, now found itself united in sorrow and anger. The investigation was immediate and intense. Law enforcement officers worked around the clock, determined to find the person responsible for such a heinous act. Hundreds of leads were pursued, countless hours poured over forensic evidence, but the trail ran cold. Despite their best efforts, the investigators found themselves at a dead end. Years turned into decades, the file gathering dust, the case growing cold. The once fervent search for justice became a haunting reminder of failure. Despite the tireless efforts of law enforcement, Candy's killer remained elusive, the question of who echoing unanswered. The frustration and despair were evident in the faces of the detectives who had dedicated their lives to solving the case. The shadow of the unsolved case lingered over Spokane, a constant reminder of the horrific act that had forever stained the community. Every year, on the anniversary of Candy's death, the town would hold a vigil, hoping to keep her memory alive and the search for justice ongoing. The case went cold, but it never faded from the minds of those who sought justice for Candy. Her face, frozen in time, served as a constant reminder of the work that still needed to be done. Detectives, both seasoned and newly assigned, revisited the case files, each hoping for a clue that their predecessors might have missed. They pored over every detail, every piece of evidence, hoping for a breakthrough. Technology advanced, offering new tools to analyze old evidence, but still, the answers remained just out of reach. The hope was that one day, the advancements in forensic science would finally bring the elusive killer to justice, providing closure to a community that had waited far too long. In the early 2000s, a glimmer of hope emerged from the depths of forensic science. DNA technology, still in its relative infancy, offered a new avenue for investigators. A preserved sample of semen, taken from Candy's clothing, provided a DNA profile, a genetic fingerprint of the perpetrator. The profile was entered into the combined DNA index system, but years passed with no match. Years later, the Spokane Police Department partnered with Othram, a cutting-edge forensic genealogy company. Othram's expertise lay in their ability to extract valuable DNA information from even the most degraded samples, breathing life into cold cases that had long seemed impossible to solve. The degraded DNA from Candy's case was no match for Othram's advanced techniques. By Labor Day of 2021, a crucial breakthrough arrived. Othram narrowed down the potential suspects to 3 brothers, bringing investigators tantalizingly close to identifying Candy's killer. The focus shifted to John Reigh Hoff, a name that would soon send shockwaves through Spokane. Hoff was the only one of the 3 brothers who had offspring. Detectives had a new lead, but work remained to find the killer. Investigators contacted the daughter of John Reigh Hoff, and upon learning the nature of the inquiry, she dropped everything and met with detectives. Hoff's daughter submitted a DNA sample which was analyzed. The results showed it was 2.9 million times more likely that Hoff's daughter's DNA was related to the recovered specimen than the general population. Investigators now had significant evidence which pointed to Hoff being the culprit, but were faced with a difficult question: how certain is certain enough? Hoff was deceased, and therefore, there would be no criminal trial, no adversarial process where each side presents evidence. All the information gleaned would come from this investigation, and detectives decided they had an obligation to be as certain as possible. With indications John Reigh Hoff was the perpetrator, SPD investigators requested and were granted a warrant allowing them to exhume the body of Hoff and collect sample DNA. The result showed a match between John Reigh Hoff and the semen specimen collected from Candy, with a probability threshold indicating it was 25 quintillion, 18 zeros, times more likely the sample came from John Reigh Hoff than an unrelated person chosen at random from the general population. The scientific evidence conclusively indicated the DNA sample collected from Candy's clothing was that of John Reigh Hoff. The DNA findings, coupled with corroborating evidence, allowed the investigators to determine John Reigh Hoff was responsible for the rape and murder of 9-year-old Candice Rogers. The breakthrough was not just a step forward in the case, it was a beacon of hope that justice would finally be served. John Reigh Hoff had lived a seemingly ordinary life in Spokane, his dark secret hidden from those who knew him. He was a man who blended into the fabric of the community, a neighbor, a friend, and a father. No one could have imagined the darkness that lay beneath his unassuming exterior. He had died by suicide in 1970 at the age of 31, taking his secret to the grave. His death left many questions unanswered, and his family was left to grapple with the loss and the mystery surrounding his sudden departure, or so it seemed. Hoff's daughter, Kathy, unknowingly held the key to unraveling the mystery. She had always wondered about her father's past, but never in her wildest dreams did she imagine the truth that would come to light. She provided a DNA sample that would rewrite history. The results were undeniable. The DNA test, a simple act of curiosity, turned into a pivotal moment that would change everything. Kathy's DNA confirmed that John Reigh Hoff was indeed Candy's killer, ending a 62-year-old mystery that had haunted Spokane. The revelation was both shocking and heartbreaking, bringing a mix of emotions to everyone involved. Exhuming Hoff's remains confirmed the DNA match, providing undeniable proof. The forensic team worked meticulously, ensuring that every detail was accounted for, leaving no room for doubt. For Candy's surviving relatives, the news brought a wave of emotions: relief, sadness, and a sense of closure that had been elusive for over 6 decades. They had lived with the pain and uncertainty for so long, and now, finally, they had answers. The revelation of Hoff's crime sent shockwaves through his family. They were left to reconcile the image of the man they knew with the horrific truth of his actions. It was a difficult and painful process, one that would take time to heal. Kathy, grappling with the horrific truth about her father, found herself thrust into the spotlight, her world forever altered. She had to navigate the media attention, the public scrutiny, and her own personal turmoil. The weight of her father's actions, the knowledge that he had committed such a heinous crime, left an indelible mark on her life. She struggled with feelings of guilt, shame, and confusion, trying to make sense of it all. She publicly apologized for her father's actions, her words a poignant reminder of the far-reaching impact of this crime. Her apology was heartfelt and sincere, a testament to her strength and resilience in the face of unimaginable circumstances. The solving of Candice Rogers' case serves as a testament to the unwavering dedication of law enforcement and the transformative power of forensic science. It highlights the importance of persistence and the advancements in technology that make solving such cold cases possible. It is a reminder that even in the face of unimaginable tragedy, hope and perseverance can ultimately prevail. The community came together, finding strength in each other and in the truth that had finally been uncovered. Though scars remain, the truth has brought a measure of peace to a community forever marked by a young girl's stolen innocence. The memory of Candice Rogers lives on, a symbol of resilience and the enduring quest for justice.